I remember when Taylor Swift started her Eras tour, I started seeing videos of girls, women bawling, just sobbing, anticipating being in the same arena as Taylor, seeing her in real life for the first time, people having overwhelming emotional responses to this. And as her time performing this tour has gone on, obviously, I've been pretty desensitized to them because they seem super common in this level of admiration and connection that people just can't physically, emotionally experience whatever is going on, the anticipation that's led to it, the years of listening to her music and feeling like she just gets you, whatever that might be. And I just think it's interesting in the human condition how different things can affect us when we understand somebody's level of relation to us. And I say this in relationship to St. Thomas Aquinas' reflection on being spiritually buried, on talking about Jesus' tomb. He says, what a joyful thing it is to find the tomb. St. Gregory had spoken on that, that it's just this, they rejoice exceedingly when they have found the grave, which is stated in Job 3, verse 22. And obviously, St. Thomas Aquinas talks a lot about, in order to be spiritually buried with God, that the mind must be perfected by the virtues, the mind must be all bright and shining with purity, and that it be wholly dead to this world. All these things are shown figuratively in the burial of Christ. And, I think about my daughters who so desperately want to go live in Bethlehem and see Bethlehem and see the stinky barn in which Jesus was born. And I think that walking the same ground as people, I think about any celebrity that wears a certain clothing item. There are websites and accounts dedicated to sourcing affordable options that look similar to what so-and-so just wore, or here is what they were wearing. I remember when after the Super Bowl, there were plenty of people talking about how much money Blake Lively was wearing, how much money Taylor was wearing, all these different pieces of this is where you can buy the pants that she was wearing. And I think that some of it can be, I thought it looked nice and I really liked the look. The other part, though, is that connection still. You're saying, Taylor Swift wore those and so I want them too, right? Or whoever, Blake Lively wore that and I want it too. And so I think what we are called to as Christians is to desire everything after Christ. We want to wear sackcloth and ashes because that's what Christ calls us to. He was wrapped in linen. We're called to sell all that we have and have a very bare minimum amount. The life of a Christian is very different than somebody that lives in this world. We're called to walk in the footsteps of Christ, not go on a pilgrimage following around a celebrity, trying to attend as many of their concerts as we can. I think that when we're fully submitted to God and we truly desire to be perfected in the virtues, I think that it comes much more naturally to want to avoid any level of distraction. It comes natural to desire limiting any worldly influence on our lives. Now, is it necessarily easy to give that up? No. Is it necessarily easy to say, I'm not going to look at my phone today? I'm not going to listen to music that doesn't glorify God directly? No. Is it necessarily easy to do those things? No. But the desire has to come first and foremost. You have to have the awareness that that's what God is calling you to. And then subsequently, there will become a desire in your heart to avoid those types of things. Then once that desire is there, then you can put a plan in place for how am I going to avoid this? How am I going to overcome this? How am I going to try to be perfected in holiness? How am I going to grow in the virtues? Where do I need to place my mind and my focus? Because I can tell you that it's not on celebrities. I can tell you that it's not on TikTok. I can tell you that it's probably not in a lot of the places that you probably are looking right now. I can say that the scripture, Bible, that's going to help you. Reading the words of the saints, that can help you. Focusing on reading books, focusing on reading, the Bible, listening to different well-known priests, reliable people with reliable information, people who you connect with. Making those things a priority is going to serve you much more in the long run than focusing on those who are of this world. And so we end up developing a desire to be spiritually buried with Christ. We desire to seek his tomb, that place where he was laid to rest and then 3 days later rose from the dead. What an exceedingly joyful thing that would be to be able to see that in person. I always tell my children whenever they say, "Mom, are we going to go to Bethlehem?" I just say, maybe one day, right? But man, do they want to go. It is the sweetest desire. It is just, and I'd much rather, personally, as a Christian, in this world with so many people that say, no, I'm not going to teach my children about Jesus. I'll let them decide when they have a chance, right? Well, if they're not choosing Jesus at a young age, they're choosing something else. My children could be obsessed with wanting to go to a Taylor Swift concert one day. Mom, I want to go see Taylor Swift in person. If they're not, they want to go to Bethlehem. And I want to go with them. And you know what? I want you to go with us too. So be sure that you're keeping your mind on Christ and allowing your children that same opportunity, because it is a beautiful relationship to cultivate ever from the moment of birth, from the moment of cognitive understanding. Just continue to share the love that Jesus has for every single one of his children. There's no need to withhold that from any child when it is the truth. It plain and simple. Like, why wouldn't you want to teach your children that? So those are my thoughts for today, this morning. So God bless you. Thanks for tuning in. I hope that you have a blessed Wednesday, and I look forward to chatting with you again tomorrow. Take care.